Hey guys, today we're going to talk about solstices and equinoxes. So let's get started. So we came up with names for positions of the earth around the sun that are very important for our seasons. And we call them solstices, specifically the summer solstice and the winter solstice, and equinoxes, specifically the fall or autumnal equinox, or the spring or vernal equinox. So here's how it works. The summer solstice is basically the first day of summer. It's when the sun's rays are hitting most directly on the northern hemisphere of the earth. The winter solstice is the first day of winter. And it's when the sun is hitting um, the southern hemisphere most directly. That's why it's winter for us in the northern hemisphere. The spring and autumnal equinox or fall equinox or vernal equinox, whatever you'd like to call it. I think it's best to stick to a fall equinox or spring equinox. Those are days of this first day of spring and the first day of fall. And it's when the sun is rays are most directly hitting the equator rather than the northern or southern hemisphere. So let's take a little closer look. What happens during the summer solstice? The summer solstice is the first day of summer for the northern hemisphere, and it happens on around June 21st. This date can change. It can sometimes be 22nd or 20th, but June 21st is a good thing to keep in mind so that if you see other numbers close to that, you know that's probably when and it's in June, it's probably the first day of summer. So this is important, and it's called the summer solstice because it's the longest day of the year. It's the first day of summer. And the sun's rays are most directly shining on the northern hemisphere, specifically this latitude that we call the Tropic of Cancer. The Tropic of Cancer is at a 23.5-degree north latitude. Remember, the Earth is tilting 23.5-degree north, and so the Earth is tilting towards the sun at a 23.5-degree north angle, the sun's rays are actually hitting the 23.5-degree north latitude most directly. So this is like that's why the northern hemisphere, especially here, is experiencing the longest day of the year and also the warmest day, right? And if we go back, since the sun's rays are hitting this Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degrees north more directly, there's more time in this area that's being spent in the sun, right? This point A is going to, as the Earth is rotating, is going to spend more time in the daylight and very little time in the nighttime. The nighttime, and then since the sun is barely hitting location C this latitude, or not as much as A. Notice that C will experience a little bit of daytime as the Earth rotates, but will mostly experience nighttime. That's why it's so cold there. Okay, but notice B. B is the equator. B and the equator actually always experiences equal amount of day and equal amount of nighttime for the most part, because whenever the sun hits, notice that half of the side of the equator is experiencing daytime and half of it is experiencing nighttime. So as the earth rotates, everybody's getting 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime at the equator. So the equator always experiences 12 hours of daytime, 12 hours of nighttime for the most part. It's the northern and southern hemisphere that kind of switches up a bit. So let's take a look back again at the winter solstice. The winter solstice is the first day of winter, and it happens around December 21st in the northern hemisphere, and it's around December 21st. Sometimes it's 22nd, sometimes it's the 20th. 21st is good number to keep in mind. So this is called the winter solstice because it's the shortest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. And so instead of the earth tilting towards the sun now, it's actually tilting away from the sun like this. Or sorry, the northern hemisphere specifically. And because it's tilting away from the sun, this is just showing where we have longer and shorter amounts of daylight. But what's really happening is instead of it tilting towards the sun, it's tilting away from the sun like this. So most of the sunlight is directly hitting this latitude right here. And this latitude is the Tropic of Capricorn. The Tropic of Capricorn now is 23.5 degrees south. Since the Earth is now, northern hemisphere is now tilting 23.5 degrees north away from the sun, but the southern hemisphere is tilting 23.5 degrees towards the sun. Most of our direct sunlight is going towards the Tropic of Capricorn, 23.5 degrees south. And that's why in the southern hemisphere, it's actually summer around this time. But in the northern hemisphere, it's really cold. It's the shortest day of the year, first day of winter. So let's write this down. The solstices, the two dates are around June 21st and around December 21st. And on June 21st is the first day of summer in the northern hemisphere. The sunlight is directly hitting the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degree north. If you'd like to write that down, you're welcome to do so. And in this on December 21st, the sunlight is actually hitting most directly in the Tropic of Capricorn, 20.3.5 degrees south. Okay. And the equinoxes, let's talk about it before we write this down. So, at the equator, we said there's always 12, almost always 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime, regardless of the season, because no matter what, the equator will have equal time spent in the day and equal time spent in the night, simply because of how the Earth sunlight hits that area. But there are other locations of the Earth that will also experience equal amounts of daytime and nighttime, depending on the season, and those seasons are called equinoxes. Equinox literally means equal night, equal amounts of daytime, equal amounts of nighttime. And this happens around March 21st and around September 21st. March 21st or around that is the first day of spring for the Northern Hemisphere, and September 21st is the first day of fall. And those are these locations that we've seen before. This is when the sunlight is hitting directly at the equator, right? Because the Earth is not tilting towards or away from the sun. And because of this, around in this time, March 21st and September 21st, the whole world is experiencing 12 hours of daytime and 12 hours of nighttime, because half of the world is lit up and half of the world is not, instead of it being uneven. Okay? So, equinoxes around March 21st and September 21st, we have 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime, just like this. Okay. But remember, the equator always experiences 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime. And the whole world experiences 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime during the equinoxes, which are March 21st, around March 21st, and around September 21st. Now let's write these notes down. So the dates for the equinoxes are around March 21st and September 21st, and it's what we call spring or fall. And on those days, we have 12 hours of daytime and 12 hours of nighttime. Solstices are more extremes, winter and summers, and equinoxes are when things equal out, 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. Okay, and that's it. Thank you.